Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me here this evening. We're past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I haven't done a show in a while. That's true. Not a Sharpe Way show. I did a show earlier today, but it was not a Sharpe Way show. And now I'm trying to make, I guess, better Sharpe Way shows. I don't know, more stuff to chat about, which I know does matter. That's why I keep trying to do so. There were many things I want to talk about today. I did, but I wanted to be a little, I guess, controversial, perhaps. Because I've been talking about this for a while, and I think now it's starting to come to pass. Some of you may realize that I was kind of right in what I was talking about. It looks like, at least, and let's walk down this road a bit. It looks like Trump is starting to move a little bit left. You might go, wait a minute, Larry. He's trying to, Trump moving a little bit left? Yeah. I've told you many times, and some of you who don't like Trump don't want to hear this. Some of you like Trump don't want to hear this. Trump is a deal maker. That's who he's been from the beginning. And when Republicans get mad at him, I shouldn't say that. When conservatives get mad at him, it's because sometimes he will not be conservative because he wants to get a deal done. That is his way. And people go, wait a minute, I thought he was. And all of a sudden, he's got a deal done. He does do that. It's a common thing. I think he's about to do it now. Now, he may not actually do it, but he's thinking about it. The question I have is, and maybe you guys could answer this one, is why? There's a reason that he doesn't just do it for nothing, right? Why would he do something that would be generally seen as more left-leaning? Why would he do that? Just because? Of course not. There's got to be some reason behind it. Is it because he's worried? Now, you might go, oh, Trump, he's never worried. Well, he has said publicly that he is concerned that if the Republicans do very poorly this year in November, that he may be looking at impeachment. He's worried about that. He said it openly, right? He wasn't playing. He said it openly. So my worry is he so worried that he will just change everything? Now, the advantage of this could be, and again, some people didn't like this, but I will bring this up for 2024. His deal making in 2024 helped him tremendously. That's how we got the coalition together. That's how we got the RFK Jr. That's how he got Tulsi Gabbard. That's how we got Elon Musk, right? That's how he got those people together, because he was looking at exactly that. He was looking at making a deal to bring people together. Is he thinking it now? Is he saying, okay, my coalition not doing good? So is he saying, you know what? I'm not even going to go with my old coalition. I'm letting that fall apart. And I'm going to go with another coalition and try to build that up to make that something. Let me show you a little bit of what I'm talking about, and we can have a conversation on that piece. All right. By the way, Rick, thank you, Rick. 12-month member, you are the man. Thank you. Why is it advantageous to divide U.S. and harden our hearts against each other? Are we being prepped for totalitarianism as a last resort for peace? Yes. That's exactly what the issue is. Look, this is distraction. I said it in my predictions for this for 2026. We're already seeing it, right? War is a distraction. Everything's a distraction, right? We're going to look over there, look over here. If we fight internally, then we don't fight against the elites. 100% true. Remember from 1984, the war is not meant to end. The war is meant to go in perpetuity. I'm paraphrasing, but the war is not made to end. The war can never end. Because if it's always an existential threat, well, then, I gotta get rid of liberties because, you know what? It's the end of the nation. I got to get rid of liberties because, the libs are destroying us, or the Republicans are destroying, whatever, right? Whoever is the bad guy of the day, that, Trump or Mamdani, whoever, they're the bad guy. I got to stop this. So yes, 100%. And Andrew brings it up. Distraction from the e-files. That too. So yes, absolutely true. I believe that come completely. All right, let me pick this up. This is the one that I thought was interesting. I had two of them. I'm going to first deal with, I think, a shorter one, which is a little bit interesting. And this is Trump. This is talking. I'm sorry. This is someone talking about ABC News, talking about one of Trump's new things, which is a bit more left leaning. More left leaning people have been talking about this than right leaning people, for sure.
In our spotlight tonight, President Trump is threatening to ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes. Trump is arguing that corporate real estate ownership is driving up housing prices for Americans. But
now, this piece here, for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you know, there is a problem with housing, obviously, which is there are a lot of private equity firms who've been buying up housing. Now, if you remember, Kathy Hochul, also my governor here in New York, also talked about making it happen, right? Actually getting rid of that, making it against the law in some way, shape, or form. So most people who've been doing it have been more left-leaning when they've been talking about doing this. That's been a much more common thing, more left-leaning. Right-leaning people have not talked about it much at all. It's really been a left issue. Here's the problem. And I brought this up last year. When Kathy Hochul first floated this, it was already done. The private equity people they've been dumping stuff for almost over a year now. The housing market is collapsing without them. So they don't want it. They're trying to dump their stuff as fast as they possibly can. If you're actually watching, rents are actually coming down. Rents are coming down. I know people say rents never come down. They literally are. Rents are coming down. Pricing is coming down right now. We're seeing that happen. So they've been dumping it for a while. So now is actually a safe time to do it. That's why Kathy Hochul talked about it. But when Kathy Hochul talked about it, people just kind of let it go because it's not really an issue anymore. In theory, it is. It really isn't that big of an issue anymore. So do we want to stop it in the future? Perhaps, because it could become an issue again in the future. I think yes, but it isn't the biggest issue right now. And so now Trump can do it, which to me is actually brilliant for him if he wants to do this because it doesn't really affect many bankers that much. This one isn't that big of a deal, but it does feel good.
Critics say large investors own just 1% to 3% of single-family homes across the U.S., and others say the government needs to do more to improve affordability for first-time home buyers.
And that's the issue. It's about affordability, not just getting them out. Right now, you're seeing that since it's down to like about 2% of the housing now is down. It was high, it was like 20% or something like that, but it's very low now. It's like 2%. So they've been dumping it.
According to the National Association of Realtors, the median price of an existing home in the U.S. now tops $400,000.
That's a lot of money for a house.
Near 6%. So for more on this, I want to bring in senior economist at Realtor.com, Jake Krimmel. He joins me now. Jake, thank you for your time. But listen, the president's statements come amid an affordability crisis for first-time home buyers.
True. So now Trump is talking about affordability. Now, is this because, and I don't know this, but my gut tells me this. This is just the gut. I could be completely wrong. Trump's been out and about recently. He's spent less time sitting in D.C. Generally speaking, when Trump spends less time in D.C., he tends to hit issues that people care about. You remember I've been saying this? For those of you who don't like Trump, you should want him to stay in D.C. For those of you who like Trump, you should want him to be out and about. Because generally speaking, when he's out and about, this is what happens. And he's been out and about, which means he's been talking to people, hearing stuff, having other conversations, not just neocon stuff, which is when he's in D.C., it's all neocon stuff. Now he's talking about regular people. All of a sudden now he's talking about, oh, wait a minute, what about this thing and that thing? Yeah.
I'm curious, how could this change the current market?
Well, I think, unfortunately, this policy proposal in and of itself is not really going to move the needle very much for first-time home buyers or for the market in general. And, the big question here is, are large-scale institutional investors crowding out prospective home buyers? Are they the reason for our housing shortage and for the affordability crisis? And the answer is no. And so although...
Thank you. That's what I wanted to bring up. He goes on and just keeps talking about it, but all the things I've been talking about are absolutely true. That's not what's happening. So it feels good, but it's not a real thing. It's not actually affecting much. And so, yeah, good, but that's about it. This is the left-leaning. Let me hit another left-leaning piece if I could. It's a specific person, and this is a different one. This one is also very left-leaning, right? And this is he's supposedly going to ban credit cards or make credit cards only be able to charge 10% interest.
President Trump has announced that he wants to limit credit card interest rates to 10% for 1 year, starting on January 20th. In today's video, let's discuss, is this really going to happen, or is this all just talk? And
now, the reality of this one is, they've been talking about this forever, capping interest rates. But again, generally speaking, this is a left-leaning conversation, a left-leaning issue. Here comes Trump again. So Trump goes out, talks to people, comes back with lefty stuff. What does that tell you? It tells you people care about lefty stuff. I know some of you conservatives don't like to hear that, but it's obviously true. And some of you conservatives are going to be mad. Why is Trump doing this? He's doing that, doing this. Why won't he just keep bombing Venezuela, bomb Greenland, whatever? We weren't that. We're neocons. I get it. I understand you do. And again, if you are unhappy, right, and you like your neocon stuff, you're happy with bombing whatever, Greenland or Venezuela, whoever they bombing. You're good. Iran, whatever, bomb them all. I get it. Well, he's doing that. So you still get that, neocons. Don't get mad. He's still doing that. Now he's going, wait a minute. I could be in trouble. Remember, he said he's worried about being impeached. So, yes, absolutely. So, Andrew says, usury is considered sinful. Yes. Shelley says, usury is mad sinful. Yes. So that should be a right-leaning, right? A more religious, a more Christian, a more biblical. It should be a more right-leaning situation, but it's not. It's left-leaning. It has been for many years. So, but I get your point completely.
What would the pros and cons be? So let's begin by going to the source. Here's what President Trump posted on the evening of January 9th.
Yeah, absolutely. seeing it. I'm very in touch with my local real estate in my town. Sellers are bananas with their listings prices, and I constantly see multiple reductions. 5K, 25K. Yes, prices are coming down. And I know you guys who are left-leaning, no, they don't. All landlords are evil and they never lower prices. And I've been telling people, no, they do. It's called the market. They lower prices. It does happen. It does happen. That is a thing. It does happen. So yeah, it does happen.
So he wrote, please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30% and even more. Effective January 20th, 2026, I, as President of the United States, am calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates of 10%. Okay, so
now here's the piece I want to bring up to you. If you just look at the past, I don't know, 30 years or so, 40 years maybe even, can you imagine a Republican president just announcing, hey, credit card companies, nah, 10%. A Republican president price controlling. This is price controlling. Yeah, that's what it is. Now, a Democratic president, yeah, absolutely. They've talked about it forever. Of course. I mean, Mamdani, who's mayor, is talking about price controlling right now. So yes. So if he was a Democrat, makes total sense. It's right in line. Of course, price controls are part of Democratic playbook, have been for a long time. Absolutely. Could you imagine that happening with a Republican president in the last 40 years? No, not really.
So notice that President Trump never said that he's going to do it. President Trump said that he's calling for a one-year cap. Yep. So in other words, he's not making any promises. I mean, if you think about it.
And there's the piece I want to bring up also. He's calling for private equity to stop buying. He's calling for this. Does that mean he's really doing it? Does that mean he's going to do it? Is he just virtue signaling to get people to start talking about him with a more left-leaning piece or not?
Anyone can call for anything. Calling for simply means that he's requesting something. Like I can call for anything too. You know, I can call for world peace. I can call for the end of world hunger. Good. Like, yes, is anything going to result from my request? You know, probably not. Now, President Trump is saying that he wants to limit the interest rate on credit cards in order to help consumers and Americans that are in credit card debts.
Now, didn't Trump tell me that the economy's A plus, A plus, 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 plus? You know what he said? Yeah, not A++, but that's not a thing. Not true. I've been telling you guys, the economy is going to be, we're going to have a big problem coming up here. This year is going to be a very tough year. I said it in my year-end show, my prediction show. It's going to be a tough year. He gets it too. That's why he's trying to do things that says, I get it. He's trying to do stuff that's like, he wants his 50-year mortgage. He wants his 10% on for 1 year. I wonder why 1 year. Oh, election will be over. Yeah, I could see that. While I can see how obvious it is, I get why he's doing it. Like, I get why he's doing it.
And I want to show you how big of an impact that this would have. First, I want to show you this chart showing how much credit card debt Americans are in. I mean, just take a look at the chart. It is wild.
That's a lot.
Americans are in more credit card debts than ever before. So did you know that half of American credit card holders do not pay their full balance every month, meaning that they're subject to those high interest rate charges?
Yep. Makes sense.
Credit card debt in the U.S. has hit a record high of $1.2 trillion. And the average APR on a credit card right now in early 2026 is about 22%. So
if the average is 22% and there's $1 trillion in credit card debt and over half of the people don't pay their credit card off every month, that's a lot of fees. That's a lot of fees.
Credit card interest rates are capped at 10%, and it would save Americans $144 billion in interest payments. And that would mean that Americans would have an extra $144 billion a year that we could use on paying down debt, daily expenditures, or discretionary income. I mean, that's a lot of money. That sounds great, right?
That sounds great.
Think about it practically. Like, who's going to be on the other end of that $144 billion? Okay, so here's how it works. When you pay interest on a credit card balance.
So I'll grab some comments before I go any further, because I know you guys want to do something else. So let me pop some comments up if I could. Vivek says, Trump is whatever politically suits him, but I think personally he'll probably be a 90s Democrat, only more to the right on immigration. Everything else is probably moderately or slightly left. You mean on a personal level? Interesting. So you're saying you think that Trump is personally center left? You know, on social issues, you're probably right. On social, you're probably right. I know people say he's anti-gay. He's not. That's just Democratic propaganda. He's not. He may be anti-trans, but I don't really know if he is or if that's a story just to make more right-leaning, further right-leaning Republicans happy. I don't know. Personally, I don't know if he actually is. I know personally. I mean, it's obvious if you look at it, he's not anti-gay. That's not a thing. That's just a story made up by Democrats. Is he anti-trans? Maybe. I'm not sure. But he may just be doing it for political expediency. So maybe on social issues, I could see that as true. Economic, I'm not sure that's true. I think he's much more of a, lower taxes, pro-business. I think he's more than that, to be my gut, Vivek. That's what I think. So, yeah. All righty. Again, Vivek says, it seems no matter who the president is on foreign policy, it's closely aligned with John McCain, and domestic spending policy is socialist light. I wish you were wrong. I wish you were wrong. Rick Pa says Trump isn't for big government. He's for huge government. Aren't they all, though? Yep. D says, wait, what? The Sharpe Way podcast on a Monday? I know, weird. Werner Street is like, GovShack is Tuesday this week at new time, 7 p.m. Yes, that is true, D. You got it. Why in the world? Why, D's asking, and I'm going to answer. Why in the world would we have a Sharpe Way tonight instead of a GovShack? Well, usually we would, but what's happening tomorrow? Well, for those of you who don't know, my governor, Her Majesty Queen Kathy, first of her name, banisher of conservatives, worshiper of the jab, destroyer of economies. She is going to be doing the New York State of the State address tomorrow. So I will have a special GovShack tomorrow at 7 p.m. Discussing that. I'll say that. Discussing that, her State of the State. So there we go. Thank you for that, D. I appreciate it. And we will be back on Monday next week, and we're going to start doing 7 p.m. always, because some of you always go, Larry, I remember 7 p.m. So we're just going to stick it at 7 p.m. Done. I heard what you said. So Humir says, Larry Show for Governor New York. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying. Yes. All righty. We covered that piece already. Nosy goes on to say, division, distraction, point the finger at everyone. but the puppet masters, theatrics. Yes, true. Rick Pod goes on to say, renaming Greenland to E Island will make Trump stop talking about it. True. Let's rename it and then we'll stop. Yes. Nosy says, you will own nothing and be happy about it. We heard that. I think people are fighting against that, Nosy. I think they're fighting against it. I think they are. I'm looking over at Rumble and I see a Rumble rant. Thank you, JJ, for the $1. Many Catholic trade are anti-usury and raving about the populist financial decisions. Do you think Andrew Jackson was right about breaking up big banks? Yes. Look, Andrew Jackson had his issues, but he did not like public. He did not like a national bank. That was right. Yuck. Literally, you can just you can just have the American government have a bank account. I'm not joking. Multiple bank accounts. You can just do that. That's what we did for years. That's what most countries did. You just have a bank account. I'm not joking. It's fine. You can do that. It's not impossible. Many companies still do it to this day and can do it if they want to. So, yes. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I can go here again. Grab some more of this. All right. That part works. That part okay. D says, if you don't know, Bongino is blocking people left and right that bring up the e-files. There's now Group 1 X if anybody's been blocked by him. Wow. Yeah, he's got some issues also, I would say. There we go. Yes. John says, you know what helps affordability? Low interest rates. True. You're not wrong. That does. Lowering interest rates does help. Sadly, what's happened with the raising of interest rates, John, you bring up a valid point. A lot of people don't want to sell their house because they've already been locked in at a 3% mortgage or something. And unless they can buy the next house outright, right, then they don't care. But if they take a loan for the next house, they're going to get a new one at like 6%. So they're gonna double their interest rate. They don't want to do that, right? They really don't want to double their interest rates. I think that's why we have it. So, all righty. I think we got that piece. We covered that too. Adirondack says easy monthly payments, the key to modern slavery. I wish you were wrong. I think we keep seeing that again and again and again. Yes. So, Andrea says, I'm not sure this will help. I think it will keep people from being able to obtain credit cards. I think some people shouldn't have credit cards, but some get them to low credit. Yes. See there, you've hit it right, Andrea. What this is going to work out. He mentions this actually later in the thing. I'm going to bring it back up. I did a bunch of these. I'll go back to the video. He talks about that. He talks about what will happen. Is that what will actually happen is they'll start canceling people's credit cards. And you might be like, well, that's a good thing. In the long run, to your point, Andrea, it may be a good thing for people. Like people getting their credit cards canceled in the long run may be better for them, possibly, right? But in the short run, that's going to hurt.
That interest goes primarily to the bank that issued your card, not the credit card network, not like Visa or MasterCard. So when you pay interest on your credit card, it's going to JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, Bank of America, etc. And of course, as I stated, it's a lot of money.
Yep.
Now, do you think those banks are thrilled about this idea? And
no,
I would say no, because it's going to hurt their income and their profits. And of
banks don't like when their profits and income are harmed. I get it.
Of course, many of the banks have politicians in their pockets. And with that being said, that brings us to a very important question. Can President Trump issue an executive order to limit credit card interest rates to 10%? And the answer is no.
Okay. He's wrong. Trump can do whatever the hell he wants. And he will. That's how that works. Now, what that question should be is an executive order like that constitutional? Short answer, no. But he had the wrong question. His question is, can President Trump? Yes, of course. Trump does whatever he wants. The Supreme Court says any president can do whatever they want. That's fine. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Yes. So he's wrong. Is it constitutional? Of course not. That hasn't stopped any president in how many decades from doing it? So they've been doing unconstitutional executive orders for decades. if not centuries, but for sure decades. I can't think off the top of my head, but for sure decades. So that's actually a silly question. So let me grab Instagram. This is Gibson. He says, do you believe the Democrats can impeach Trump in the future if he decided to invade Greenland? I'm just wondering what your thoughts is on that. No, they will not. Okay. I do not think we will invade Greenland. I mean, maybe, but I don't see it. You could just buy it. Like, it's buyable. It is. So just buy the damn thing, right? Trump doesn't care about debt. We're what, $38, $39 trillion a day? He don't care about that. And he's giving money away to Venezuela, Argentina. So he doesn't care about that. So Trump will just buy it. So could he invade? We could. And we could take Greenland in, I don't know, a couple days, whatever long it would take. I don't know. But there's no need. There's 50,000 people in Greenland, 50-something thousand. What's that? 35,000 adults, whatever, 40,000 adults, whatever. Not a big deal. So could, yes. Will he? Probably not. Do the Democrats impeach Greenland? They won't, because Democrats like war too. Will the Democrats impeach Trump? If they win in 2026, 100% yes. 100% yes, but not for that. They will find another reason to impeach Trump. Guaranteed. If the Democrats take the Senate and the House, Trump's impeached. Trump said it. He wasn't playing. He knew it's true. He knows it's true. If the Democrats take both the House and the Senate, Trump's getting impeached. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But not for Greenland. And the reason is Democrats like war. Usually, Democrats like war more than Republicans. But they all love war. But generally speaking, Democrats love war more than Republicans. Generally speaking. Like, the Republicans have a Thomas Massie and a Rand Paul. Democrats don't really have that. So they got like nobody who doesn't love war. So they're all loving war. Now, so again, will they impeach him? Yes, not for that. Because they don't want to set that precedent. Because when their guy wins, whatever, President Gavin Newsom or whatever is the next Democratic president, they want Newsom able to bomb people too, right? I know right now it's like, oh, evil Trump bombing people. I get it because he's in power. But when Democrats are in power, this Venezuela thing that people mad about Trump doing, I still think it sucks and he should have done it. But Biden would have done it too if he thought he could have got away with it. He'd done it too, 100%. So, yes, Democrats will impeach Trump if they win. No, not for Greenland. For whatever else, they'll find something. It's fine. They'll find something. But it will not be Greenland. That's what I'll tell you. It will not, because they want to make sure they could do it too. So, all right. JJ, another $1. Thank you, JJ, over on Rumble. No wonder many people are enamored with I don't want to say the word, ism. When they're struggling economically. If banks too big to fail, they do not need to buy houses. If banks are too big to fail. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. I think what you're saying is the trope of the banker ethnicity. How about that? I'm only saying this because I'm on YouTube and I got to talk baby talk on YouTube or I get canceled. So that's why I'm saying it that way. Not because I wouldn't say it. If I was talking to you publicly, I would just say it, but I'm on YouTube. So I got to do baby talk. That ethnic group that is often thought of as being bankers. How about that? Is that clear? Saying it baby talk enough YouTube? I think it does make people angry. They go, oh, see, this is why I can't get what I want. It's an easy scapegoat. I think it is easy scapegoat and has been for decades an easy scapegoat. And I think here too. I think it's an easy scapegoat. I agree with you, JJ. I think it is very easy to be a scapegoat here. So, yep. All right, keep going.
I mean, he could issue an executive order, but it wouldn't be legally enforceable. And then the banks would, they take it to court and they'd have it overturned. Therefore,
okay. See, yeah. They'll take it to court and have it overturned. Will they though? One, will they take it to court? And two, will it be overturned? I mean, maybe. Maybe.
In order to regulate private lending rates, Congress has to vote on it, approve it.
Okay, that's the same with war. That's the same with tariffs. Everything you're saying, homeboy, is true with tariffs and war, yet we don't see them taking that to court yet. We don't see that being overturned yet. We'll see. I mean, maybe it will be. We'll see. Not yet. And the damage has been done. If they do overturn it, damage already done.
Pass it into law. And at the time of making this video, President Trump has not issued an executive order.
True, not
although
yet.
There's some talks of him attempting to do so. Okay, but I just want you to know that Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
This is why I'm bringing this up. Trump is doing stuff that these guys did. This is a left-leaning issue, usually. They talked about this long time ago, right? So this is usually a left-leaning idea. But what it actually is, believe it or not, is a populist idea. So Trump picked up the left populists and said, well, now it's right populism. I mean, I guess that's a good idea. We'll see.
Have already attempted to limit credit card interest rates through Congress.
Adirondack, you saw it coming. Bernie must be pissed Trump's doing this. Yeah. Bernie's like, what? This is my caper. What you doing? This is my gig. Why are you biting off me, Trump? That's what that Bernie's thinking right now. Why are you biting off me, Trump? Exactly. You didn't know Trump was a Bernie supporter, did you?
So this is nothing new. 11 months ago, Senator Bernie Sanders released a plan that would cap credit card interest rates to 10% for 5 years. And of course, that never materialized. And Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez introduced a bill in March of 2025, capping credit card interest rates at 10%. However, it failed to gain traction in Congress.
Yep.
Okay, so President Trump is in talks with certain members of Congress to potentially create legislation to get this voted on. Senator.
Okay, now here's an issue. If he does that, then that might work. But I'm not sure he actually wants to do it. I'm not sure Trump wants to actually do it. Maybe he does. I don't know. Again, he's a deal maker. It's possible. But he might just want to talk the talk to get people thinking that he actually cares. See, I think he heard that affordability thing. He tried calling affordability a Democratic hoax. That didn't work at all. So now he's like, okay, so, all right, it's not going to work. I've been talking to real people. They've been telling me this. I'm watching the polling. You know what? Maybe this affordability thing is a thing.
Marshall said that he discussed the situation with President Trump on Friday night. Senator Marshall said, and I quote, "This effort is to lower costs for American families and to rein in greedy credit card companies who have been ripping off hardworking Americans for too long."
See, these greedy credit card companies. That sounds like Bernie, doesn't it? Huh. Could you imagine if Trump takes over what Bernie and AOC did, gives to Republicans, and they pass that bill? And Trump starts the bill, and then Democrats have to vote against it because it's Trump. Next level trolling. That's next level trolling right there. Like that's wait. If that actually happens, yes, Trump. I always say this. If someone could get out of this problem, because Trump's in trouble now. I know a lot of you guys love Trump, don't believe it. I can see it in the polling. I look at the polling and I see it. Trump is still very popular among Republicans. If you are a Republican in America, you probably still like Trump because most Republicans still do. Most Democrats obviously still hate Trump. Independents have walked away from him. Either they're lukewarm on him or don't like him anymore. Some are mad and they feel betrayed. That's true. So Trump's like, okay, I've accepted I'm in trouble because he is. He said he might get impeached. He gets it. He knows he's in trouble. I've been saying he's in trouble for a long time. Some of you have been no, not true. He steals puppies. He always, nope, he's in trouble. I've been telling you this for a long time. He's losing his coalition. I know half his damn coalition. So he's been losing his coalition. So I was like, I know, I'll try this. If anyone can pull this off, it's him. I'm not sure he can pull this off. But if he can, if anyone can, he can.
So listen, I just want you to understand this very clearly, that right now, all this talk is just a concept, just like the $2,000 Doge stimulus check or the $2,000 tariff dividends.
Yep.
So I would say, like, honestly speaking, like, don't get too excited. Now, I want to show you how the banks are reacting to all of this. And this is coming from the...
Now, this is the problem, what he's bringing up here. And this is what you were talking about earlier. I think it was Andrew who said this. The problem they're going to have is if they actually do this, Credit card companies aren't just going to sit there and go, okay, guess we're screwed. That's not how that works. That's what people on the left often think. We'll just tax them and they'll take it, right? Yeah. You hear people this all the time. Oh, it was good when we had tax rates at 90% because they just took it. That's not how that starts. That's not how that starts. So, yeah. Andrea says, thank you. Thank you, Andrea, for being that. Could it be Trump is trying to prop up the economy by encouraging spending? The Fed won't lower rates, so maybe he's trying to encourage spending. That would be a brilliant move if he is, right? And the problem is he's also threatening, if you saw, his new threat is to like arrest the Fed chair. Like he's not playing. He's not playing. All I can tell you is Trump is doing what he did last year. And again, those of you who don't like Trump will not want to hear this. Those of you who like Trump will probably want to hear this. Trump understands something from last year. He's figured it out. He went back out to the people. He heard some stuff and he recognizes something. When he's throwing everything at the wall is when he's winning. Democrats do not know how to handle this. They're not prepared for this. When he first came aboard last year, if you remember, around the same time last year, more like February-ish, he was throwing this and throwing that and throwing this and throwing that. And boy, people are like, what's going on? He's doing it again. Have you noticed? He's doing it again. Now he's going to invade Greenland. Now he's going to invade Venezuela. Now he's going to invade Iran. Now he's going to, right, whatever. He's going to arrest Powell. Now he's going to, I don't know, have ICE go to Tucson, whatever, right? Now he's going to cap on credit cards. Now he's going to tell private equity they can't buy stuff. Boom, 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 boom. It's not a bad tactic for him. It worked last year. It did. You guys watched it. We talked about it here. It worked last year. Trying it again. It might work again. The issue is he did it last year because he had the momentum and it worked. Now, I'll say it again. Yes, I was right again. A lot of you guys were thinking last month, 2 months ago when I was saying he's in trouble. No, he's not. The poll says he's more popular than ever, blah, blah, blah. And what did I say? He's losing his coalition. He finally figured it out. Oh, or his people did. Either him or his people figured out, oh, no. They should have, but they didn't say this. But they should have said, Larry Sharpe was right again. They didn't say that. But they should have said that because I was. And boom, now he's doing stuff. So I do think you have a very valid point, Andrea. He's probably trying to prop up spending, get stuff going. And all he cares about is until the election. He wants to make sure Republicans don't lose the House and the Senate. And if he can do this right by November, they won't. If he can't, they will. That's the issue. So thank you for that. Phil says, Italians invented banking. Just say, I will not say that word. Yes, they will say the G word. I'm not going to get in trouble on YouTube. Going to call me the terrible words. So no, yes. But Italians didn't invent banking. They were just very good at it. Very good at it. It's true. But most people don't realize that. Italians were very good bankers. That's absolutely true. But the trope isn't Italians, even though they were, Phil's 100% correct. Italians were very good bankers. But the trope is, you know, who is the bankers. That's the trope, which is why anti-Semitism, I said it, damn thing, now I'm going to get booted off YouTube, is bigger now. One of the reasons, I shouldn't say it's not the only reason, but yeah, but yes, it is increased because of that, because that's a trope. It's true. All right.
The Bank Policy Institute. They say, we share the president's goal of helping Americans access more affordable credits. At the same time, evidence shows that a 10% interest rate cap would reduce credit availability and be devastating for millions of American families and small businesses who rely on and value their credit cards. My opinion is that although that may be true to some extent, I mean, I'm just talking honestly, I believe that it just all boils down to the money. It's about the income, it's about the profits for the banks. That's all that it is. So of course they're going to put out a statement like that to sugarcoat the whole situation.
Of course.
Now, I do want to point this out, and this may disappoint a lot of people because I know that this topic's like so sensitive. It's important to so many people.
And this is a problem, right? The problem we have is a lot of people, excuse me, do not want to change their lifestyle. And because they don't want to change their lifestyle, they won't stop spending. They just won't. You say, wait a minute, but they don't have the money. Credit cards. And there are a lot of people who have simply said, I'm just going to go on credit card debt and not pay it off. And you might go, Larry, that's just, that's just stuff. You said, no, there are a lot of people who are purposely not paying, to the point where some of you may have heard this. The government is garnishing paychecks, because you got to pay your student loan or whatever. That's happening. So what are people doing? They're not working on the books. It's encouraging a black market. If I don't get a paycheck, you can't garnish it. Yes, that's actually happening right now. So people are doing that.
So let's just say that this does actually happen, a 10% limit, 10% cap. That means that the banks will make much less money, right? And of course, they're going to try to make up for it, right? What are they going to do? They're going to find other ways to make money off us, and they're also going to try to save on costs. So
yep. Now, Doc brings up a very important point. He goes, but this looks like a bone Trump is throwing to the buy now, pay later services like Klarna. The question is, if he makes this edict, will Klarna, and for those who don't know, Klarna is what Doc's saying. It's a buy now, pay. Like if you go on whatever, like, I don't know, DoorDash, or you go on certain places, you want to buy stuff, you can use Klarna, and it's the equivalent of a credit card without having an actual credit card. You simply, Klarna pays up front, and then you pay Klarna every month or whatever the case may be. So it's a credit card, kind of like a credit without a credit card. But it's only online. So you can do it if you want to. And will that count? If he looks past it and doesn't notice it, is that on purpose? Maybe. So I could see that, Doc. I could see that. Because then, of course, banks will add more Klarnas, right? And now a lot of these online banks have their own type of Klarna. So I'm going to bank with Chime or whatever. And then Chime has its own Klarna, which then becomes like a credit card without being a credit card. So I can see that too. It's a very, very valid
point. Did you know that it's not the credit card companies that pay you the credit card rewards? Like I'm talking about the cashback, the miles, the points. It's not them. It's the banks. So your credit card rewards are not coming from Visa. They're not coming from MasterCard.
That means they're going
away.
They're
being funded by JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, etc., the issuing bank.
Yes, absolutely. Nosy says people have a choice. They effing did it themselves. Yes and no. And I want to be fair on this. You are technically correct. Of course you are correct. No one's forcing you to use your credit card. True. That's accurate. The issue is many of these people who are doing it are younger. Not an excuse. But they're in a world where keeping up with the Joneses is important, which it always has been, but something else. Many of them are unhappy. You might go, Larry, what do you mean by unhappy? Here's the unhappy part. Shopping is a drug, like other things are. They know this. I mean, this is like documented. People who have problems, shopaholic, whatever, that's a real thing. People get high from shopping. It's true. From buying. They found people who are hoarders. They would buy things, and when they go into a house after they're like cleaning the house out because the people are going bankrupt, they get boxes upon boxes, never opened. I'm not making this up. Boxes upon boxes, never opened. They just felt good ordering it. They never bothered opening the box up, never took the thing out. Just bought it and felt good, and bought it and felt good. And as you've heard me say a gazillion times, if you are constantly looking for that dopamine hit, you're not happy. The happier you are, the less you seek short bursts of pleasure. The less happy you are, the more you seek short bursts of pleasure. So they're like, that gets me a short burst, that does that. And then I get it and I think, that'll make me happy. See, Nosy, if I just buy one more t-shirt, I'll be happy. If I just buy one more pair of shoes, I'll be happy. If I just buy one more Stanley Cup, I'll be happy. If I just buy one more trinket, I'll be happy. This one, I know I have 7 Stanley Cups, but if I get the 8th, then I'll be happy. And I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. So I get your point, but there's also a human piece. The happier we are, the less we do this. So yes. Logica is there. How are you? Good seeing you as always. Pretty sure he's anti-trans. If I was in a red state, I'd be feeling those new policies. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not saying he isn't, but I'm saying I know he's not anti-gay, but I could. Here's what I would say: his policies in certain cases have been so. Is that because he is, or he doesn't care and is just doing it to appease people? I guess that would be my issue. Which one is it? I'm not sure which one it is. So yeah, there we go. All righty. Adam says, awesome. State of the state with Kathy. Yes, that's tomorrow. Yes. John says, I don't think President Trump is anti-trans. He's against targeting children with hormone replacement. Oh, maybe. I'm unsure in that case. I know he's not actually anti-gay. I don't know about the trans piece. I would go either way with that. I don't actually know. So Andrew says, I'll bring the kettle home for tomorrow. Thank you. That will be amazing. Yes, that will be amazing. We'll see. All right. D says, I started building my credit with a prepaid credit card. I built my daughter's credit. She has great credit. I built my daughter's credit with a joint card, me and her. That's how I began to build it with her. So yeah. Shelly said, I started my credit by borrowing against my savings account. I gotta tell you, I built mine because they threw credit cards at me and I just took them and just paid them off. So yeah. Now she says, oh, poor banks. I know. I feel bad for them. Write them a check, Nosy. Banks need your money. Okay, there we go. Phil says, Dave Ramsey used to call the credit card the cigarette of finance. Expensive, addictive, and maybe cancerous. Nicely done. Nicely done. I like that one. That is good. Yes, that is good. John said, told my kids get a credit card and use it for gas, purchase, pay it in whole monthly, helps build some credit. Yes, I've actually the opposite. I told my daughter, always keep a very small balance. You might go, why? Because a balance means they're getting some interest. But go, Larry, I don't give them any interest. If you want good credit, it's not in the bank's best interest for you to pay your I'm saying for the bank. You don't get great credit if you always pay off your bill. And people, and I know people tell me, banks love me. I pay my bill off every month. Like, banks don't love you. Banks love getting fees off of you. So my view, if your goal is to build credit, good credit fast, if that's your goal, leave a very small balance on your card. There's a trick. You can actually also leave a negative balance on your card. So you owe them $20, you pay 25. Negative balance is still a balance. It registers the balance on your card. You won't have a balance. Or the reverse. You owe them $20, pay them 18. Leave $2 on your card, it's a balance. That actually gets more credit than not having a balance. He actually talks about this in a minute. You can't get your cards canceled. You get your cards canceled for not using them or for not having any fees on them, because then why do you have a card? So yeah, they actually do want you to have again, if you're in you can build credit your way, John, that way, but it will take longer. If you're not in a rush, your way is a better way. But if you're trying to build up to buy a house, buy a car, whatever, then you should leave a small balance on your card. And that gives you better credit, because if they're getting some money off of you, you get high credit. If that makes any sense. You might go, but Larry, why would I leave $10 on my card and I'm going to pay him whatever, $1 in insurance, in interest or whatever. You're paying $1 to get faster credit. And again, doesn't matter to you. If you go, yes, I need to buy a house next year because I'm getting married or I have kids or whatever, or my spouse is, pregnant or I'm pregnant, whatever, then maybe you do because you're in a rush to build credit. If you're not, your way's better. Depends upon what your goals are. So yes. All righty. Where am I here? Adark says, why invade Greenland when you can buy it? That's a Chinese strategy for taking over the U.S. True. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Andrew says he senses an imminent recession. He is correct. And if you remember what I said, people are talking about the AI bubble bursting. And my prediction was it won't burst this year. Should it burst this year? Yes. It won't. My opinion, it will not. Why? Because at this point, the recession's imminent. They're all feeling it. They're going to just flood it with debt, or they'll flood it with cash, or they'll make whatever. They'll do whatever it takes to hold it through November. November elections are far too important. So I agree, Andrew. He senses it. He's making changes. Yes. All righty. Where am I? Phil says, Obama knocked over 2 countries with his big dictator energy. Well, yeah, we do that all the time. Mike says they'll find some weak charges to impeach him on that won't actually do anything besides muck things up. That's possible too. That's possible too. Yes. Andrew says they dang well tried to impeach him twice. Didn't go so well. What's the third one going to do to him? President can't go to jail, according to SCOTUS. Well, no. That's not true. No. This is not true, Andrew. SCOTUS says, didn't say he can't go to jail. SCOTUS says that you can't charge him. But no matter what, he can be impeached. No matter what. Impeachment's different. You can impeach him. SCOTUS can't stop an impeachment. That's not a thing. SCOTUS can stop charges. Yes, but impeachment? In theory, not reality, but in theory, the Congress can impeach the president anytime they want. In theory, not in practice, but in theory, anytime they want. We think he's a bad guy, we're going to impeach him. They can. If both the Congress and the Senate agree, they can impeach and remove the president. That can happen. In theory. In practice, obviously, that's not how it works, but it could. So he can be removed. Absolutely can be removed. What SCOTUS says about the being arrested or charged, that's not the case when it comes to impeachment. No matter what, if he's doing a lot of heavy lifting in a sentence, if Congress, both the House and the Senate, decided they wanted to impeach and remove Trump, they can, regardless of what the SCOTUS says. It does not matter what they say. They can, in theory. Bronna says the last Democrat member who was good on being anti-war was Dennis Kucinich. He was good. It's true. So was Jimmy Carter. He was good too. So yes. All right. Let's see if I can go down here. All right. Notice says banks never fail. They harvest claim bankruptcy, then the government buys them out. They do want that. That's true. Yes. So let's see here. Bronna's still here. I'm glad to see you there. That's awesome. All righty. Mike says tariffs will probably be defanged by the Supreme Court, but I don't think they'll be completely overturned. Maybe, but not yet. Maybe. They might. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. They tend to let them get away with everything. So I don't know. We'll see. All righty. Walk down here if I can. All right. Doc says Klarna approves this message. True. Andrea says people have never learned money management either. I'm going to tell you a story I tell often, Andrea. I used to sell cars. I know, shocker. I used to sell cars. And when I would go sell cars, I would try to explain to people how to pay for the car, right? I would try to tell them about the interest rate and the payment and the yearly. They didn't want to hear it. They cared about one thing only. What's the monthly note? That was it. They were like, look, I can only afford whatever, $300, $400, whatever's their amount they can afford. I can only afford that. Can I get it? I can get that. You want that car? Yes. I want it for that amount. All right. I can make that happen. Right? I can make that happen. I can get you any car you want for any price you want. I can make that happen. The question is, how do you want to pay for it? Right? And then do you want to lease it? Do you want to buy? They didn't care. They didn't care whether it was a lease or a buy. Think about that if you understand money management or finance at all. Not caring if it's a lease or if it's a purchase. Not caring. That was common. I know if you pay 5 years and you're leasing it, at the end of 5 years, you owe nothing. And that might be okay. There's times when a lease makes sense. Leases aren't by default bad. Depends on what you want, what you're trying to achieve. They're not by default bad, but they're very different. Or you go 5 years, at the end of it, you own the car. Now, if you're someone who says, hey, I like to have new cars. I want a new car every 2 years, and maybe you own a business and the business can pay for the car as an expense. Leasing is probably a good idea for you. That's probably a good idea if that's who you are. If you want to have a new car every 2-3 years and you have some other entity that can help pay for that and it's tax deductible, that's because of the business expense, then it's probably smart to lease. That's probably not always, obviously, but at least that, okay, makes sense. You can lease it. Or if you're someone who says, look, I've got a good enough cash flow and I want to have a brand new car every 2 years. I like having a brand new car. Leasing's probably a good idea for you. If that's what you want. Your money, that's probably a smart move. If you're like, no, I don't have to have a brand new car every year. I would like to keep a car for a while. you might want to buy, right? It depends. Now, you also might not want to buy a new car. Depends upon what you want. If you're like, no, I like the newest bells and whistles, I want to make sure I have that, you probably want to buy a new car. If you're like, no, I don't care about that, I guess go from A to B, you probably don't want to buy a new car. And again, as that may sound obvious to us having this conversation, when people were there, they just wanted a new car and they just give us a monthly note. Oh, that car is cool. I want that car. Okay, great. I could do $350 a month. Okay, I can make that happen. Guaranteed. You might be leasing for 6 years and you got nothing at the end of it, but you're okay with it. And when I would try to explain it to Andrea, they would literally go, no. Like they would literally like tell me to stop. They didn't want to hear it. No, it's fine. It's good. You could do $350 for that. Done. And then act like I give them a deal. They don't even, I'm not joking. There was a thing that the sales reps do all the time. And if you've ever bought a car or sold cars, you might know. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, the car's price is X, whatever the price of the car is. You negotiate the price of the car down. So your car's going to be whatever, 40 grand, whatever your car is. Okay, great. That's what it costs, 40 grand. Wonderful. And they give you a monthly note on if you finance it for, say, 3 years or whatever that thing is right here. Now it's probably 7, but back then, 3 years, we're going to finance it. Here's your monthly note. And then she goes back on, I can't afford that monthly note. It's whatever. It's $600 a month or whatever. I can't afford that. Okay. What if I got down to $450 for you? $450. How about $400? $400. If I get this down to $400, you do it? I'll do it. $400? Yeah, I'll do it. What if I move to a lease? Would you do that for a lease? Yeah, I'll do it for a lease, probably. Whatever. I go back, make it a lease, raise the price of the car from 40 grand to 50 grand, lease it for 5 years. They're paying $390 a month. He's like, $390. Oh, he got over on me now. He got over on me now. See, I beat that Larry guy up. Oh, I got him from 600 to 390. I beat him up. Yeah, but now it costs 50 grand. It's not 40 grand anymore. And now at the end of 5 years, you don't own it. That happened over and over and over again. So anyway, that you're totally correct. We should be teaching kids this. It's insane. So anyway, hope that makes sense at least. All righty. John says President Trump did not call for the hoax. He said he would like to hope President Biden did make things unaffordable. He's making things more affordable. Check out the price of gas and eggs. Is that what he said? I don't think that's true. I think he was like, it's not real, or I hate talking about whatever he said. I hate talking about it. It's something like that. I'm getting it off, but it was something like that. So yes. All righty. Let me do a couple more of these and we'll wrap this up.
So that rewards money is coming out of the pockets of the banks because, well, they're making so much money off these credit cards with their interchange fees and their interest charges. So if the banks make less money on credit cards, then those credit card rewards will either be greatly reduced or discontinued. Yep.
So rewards start going away, and worse, credit cards start getting canceled. Now, why does a canceled credit card matter? You might go in the long run, that might be a good idea for somebody. Maybe that could be a good idea for somebody in the long run, maybe. But short run, how's that work? When I was counting on that credit card, to pay bills, and now it's gone. So now I owe, and I can't use any more credit. That's very challenging. Yes, it is super challenging. So, all right. D says, did I just see a poll come out on Larry Sharpe Media with 8%? What's it all about, Larry? Yes, it is true. For those of you who don't know, D is correct. She's absolutely correct. There was a poll that came out from Zogby with my governor run. For those of you who care, some of you don't, some of you do. And indeed, I am polling as of now an amazing 8%. It is true. 8% is what I'm polling at. And you're like, Larry, 8%. You're a libertarian? Yes. It's New York State? Yes. And you're polling at 8%? Hell yes. Absolutely true. Polling at 8%, which is amazing. It is one of the highest I've ever polled at. And again, we have 11 months left in this campaign. 10 months left. Sorry, 10 months left. 10 months left in this campaign. Polling at 8% is magical. Utterly magical. This means that as I continue to grow and make things happen, this becomes a winnable race. Now, if Bruce Blakeman just gets smart and gets out of my way and lets me win the Republican primary, then that 34 comes to me And then I'm at 42% against Kathy Hochul. Now I got 7 points. I can make up 7 points. Easy day. Blakeman has a ceiling. He's not going past a certain amount. He's not. I have no ceiling. I can just keep growing. So yes, this is nothing but good news. It's a Zogby poll. It's the second time I've been polled. I was polled in the past, and they went other. This was actually Larry Sharpe. The other one was other. And other, I polled between 7 and 9%, averaging 8. This one, they actually polled with my name in it, and 8. Either way, I told you I was the other. Some of you said I wasn't. You were wrong. I am the other. But not only am I the other, you can see me, I keep growing, right? 6%, 8%. Soon it will be 18%, 28%, 51%. I am inevitable. Watch the future, my friends. Yes. Thank you for that, D. That is correct. Absolutely correct. Yes. So happy that you noticed that. Thank you for doing that. Ironic says, self-censoring means they won. Yes. They're a monopoly. Yes. You're correct. That's exactly right. I wish you were wrong. You are correct. Absolutely. All right. Ironic goes another day, finance a sandwich. Brilliant. For them, yes. For us, no. Yes. Absolutely. So, yes, that's what Klarna is. All right. Let's see here. D says, here's one thing I guess I give kudos to Trump. PayPal was supposed to start reporting $600 or more in transactions. They went back to pre-bug only after 20,000 or 200 transactions. Oh, I didn't recognize. That's amazing. There we go. See? Trump cares about you, D. There we go. Trump cares about you. There we go. All righty. Evelyn says, my son had to buy groceries using his credit card. His support was cut. Needed that kind of help. Yeah, it's challenging. It is challenging. 100%. And again, she goes on to say, but it's bits you can get into deep. You can get into deep. You absolutely can get into deep. 100%. This can be a point to where there's no return. 100%. 100%. So I talked about housing because I was talking about the people buying because I talked about private equity buying housing and how that's a big issue. But that isn't the biggest issue. When it comes to housing, the biggest issue is literally supply. That's what it is. And the guy in that, if you watch that issue, he talks about supply. He talks about zoning, all those things. Where can I find someplace where people are talking about that? Where could I find, if I was looking for someplace, I'd look at Civil. I would. Of course I would. I would look at Civil if I could. That's where I would go. And if I was looking, where would I look at? Well, here's one right now for you. Boom. Austin versus San Francisco. Talking how Texas beat California on housing. And one of the biggest way they beat California housing was with...
Here's a modern-day tale of two cities, San Francisco, California, and Austin, Texas. They're both large American cities famous for their trend-setting tech sectors and cultural scenes.
True.
For Austin, this is the best of times. For San Francisco, it's more like the worst.
New data shows San Francisco's population has dropped for the fourth consecutive year.
Shows the city has the largest percentage population drop.
San Francisco region leads the area in the number of people fleeing the big city since the pandemic.
Meanwhile, not only is Austin growing, but rental prices are falling.
What? That's impossible. Rent prices never fall, except they do. Texas has more people than we do. Austin has tons of, it's a big city. So's Dallas. So's Houston. These are all large cities. Yet somehow they do not have the same problems we have when it comes to rent, when it comes to homelessness, all those things. What's changing? Oh, wait, zoning. This can be fixed. Here's a good story on it. Head and watch it if you want to. Head over to Civil to get real information, not biased information. Civil.com, CIVL.com. Go over there, do code Larry10. That's Larry, the coolest name on the internet, and 10% off. Do that if you can. Civil.com, code Larry10 for 10% off. Check them out. It is literally, Civil is upgrading civilization without the conflict machine. They're a sponsor of the show. I'm on there too, by the way. I am on Civil. You can check my stuff out on Civil, and you actually get 6 specific issues, specific places. We Fix It Wednesdays that are only on Civil, civil.com. Thank you guys for supporting. All right, so I've covered that piece. I want to grab some more comments if I could. Let's see here. Phil says, I think a lot of times you substitute savings for credit. Credit used to be difficult to get. The reverse, you mean you substitute credit for savings? Yes, I do. I've done that in my past. I've said to myself, I'm good because my credit cards are empty, right? I think you're right, Phil. I've done it myself. In the past, I've been like, oh no, I've got whatever, 2 or 3 credit cards that are empty. That means that's my rainy day fund. I did think that. I think you're totally correct. So we think, well, I don't have to have savings. Why? I got credit. I don't need savings. Now, obviously, that's not the best idea, but I do think, because I did it myself, I think you're right. I think a lot of people did go through that and did think, hey, I got 2 credit cards. They're empty. I don't need savings. And that feels good when you have it open, but all of a sudden when you get in trouble and those credit cards all of a sudden not so empty and there's no savings, it's a problem. But yeah, I completely agree that a lot of people think that way. I think I have too. So yes. Nosy says, Nixon resigned to avoid impeachment. Has any president been removed by impeachment? No president been removed by impeachment. Right now, if I remember right, only 3 presidents have been impeached. There's 2 parts to impeachment. It's not exactly the same, but it's a close analogy to being indicted and then being convicted. Convicted. Correct. I think it's not exactly, but it's close to being indicted versus convicted. You can get indicted, which means now you go to trial. And convicted, guilty or not. Similar in, not the same, but it's similar in impeachment. The House basically indicts and the Senate basically convicts. Again, not the same, but similar. And impeachment is in the House. Removals in the Senate. That's how that works. And 3 presidents have been impeached. None have been removed. Andrew Johnson was impeached. Bill Clinton was impeached. And Trump was impeached. All 3 were impeached. The most BS impeachment was Bill Clinton. That should not have happened. That was the most BS. But all 3 were impeached. None were removed. In fact, Trump is the only one impeached twice. Yeah. Andrew Johnson once, Clinton once, Trump twice. So yeah, there we go. All righty. I hope I answered that question. All righty. D says, my dad had this obsession with having a new car every 2 years, and he didn't lease for some strange reason. Yes, if that's who you are, and you're like, hey, I want a new car every couple years. I like the bells and whistles. I don't care if that's who you are. And I'm not mad at you. Your money, do as you see fit. Some people really like cars and they want the cool new bells and whistles. Awesome. It's probably a good idea to lease. It's probably a lease and then move on. It's probably a good idea if that's what you want, right? Because if you're going to keep buying and selling and losing value, just lease and just take it as basically a long-term rental to always have a brand new car. It's probably a good idea for you. Get one every 2 years, lease your car. If you have an entity like a company or something that can pay for it, even better if you can. Some people do, some people don't. But yeah, I agree. If you want a new car all the time, my opinion, and it's not financial advice, don't get me in trouble, YouTube, but my opinion is if you're someone who really likes having a new car every couple of years, and again, I used to sell cars, leasing is generally speaking a better idea for you. Because for those who don't know, all you're doing is you're paying off the depreciation, right? And the first couple of years, you lose so much value in the car that selling it becomes not worth it most of the time and hard to do. Trade-in values become weak. So don't go through it. Just do a 2 or 3 year lease. And then the dealership's getting the car back and they know it. So they help take care of the maintenance. They're going to help you with that because they want the car back. And they're getting the car back. They're going to sell it as a used car or release it or whatever, pre-owned, whatever, and lease your new car. Lease your car every 2 years. You get what you want. All good. So that's it. Yeah. All righty. Okay. Adirondack says, Bruce Lipton's support is all red no matter who voters. True. Yep. Absolutely true. But look, that's the point. If I run a Republican primary and win it, I get those. So that's all that matters. So correct. Okay. Doc says San Francisco is a peninsula. You can't print more land. I think that's true, but that doesn't mean that the rules are wrong. There's lots of other cities that are in trouble, right? You look at New York State, right? There's lots of cities that aren't peninsulas, tons of them, right? Lots of them. Rochester, Buffalo's not a peninsula. Rochester's not a peninsula. Albany's not. All losing population. All losing it, right? Dallas is not, right? Lots of them aren't. LA's not losing population. So yes, that's true in the case of San Francisco. The reason why he picked San Francisco versus Austin is because it has a similar vibe, if that makes it. It's a similar vibe, similar people, similar demographics. That's why they picked those two cities. But you could have done it to LA. You could have done it to probably Sacramento, I would assume. Sacramento's not a peninsula. So yes, but I don't think that would have mattered. So I think he was thinking more about, like, I will often compare New York to Florida. Two separate states. Things are different, right? Florida's a peninsula also, but demographically very similar. And while Florida has more population, it's still similar. I think Florida has 20 million, I think now, and New York State, I think, has 18 million, if I'm not mistaken. So similar demographics, not the same. They skew a little bit older and a little more Hispanic than we do, but overall, it's very close in demographics, very close. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. All righty. Phil says, LL Cool J said he released a Honda Accord and he got used to that comfort, even when his career dipped when he was financially secure. Andrew says, every 2 years, I cannot fathom buying a new computer every 2-3 years, and they're old. Yeah, but there are people who love it, Andrew. And again, no judgment. Some people like it. And if that's what you want to do, I get it. But then lease. That's it. Andrew says, I drive my car till it dies. I agree. Yes, I completely agree. So, all righty. Let's see if I can grab this. Shelly says, leasing doesn't work well in rural areas because of the mileage. Yeah, that's the second piece, right? Are you driving it around a city or a suburb where you're not going to have a bunch of mileage? Good point, Shelly. You're driving in rural areas, that may not make sense because you have put a whole lot more mileage on it. It's true. So, yeah. Brona says, I don't think Clinton's impeachment is BS. Isn't lying on oath of Congress a felony? Yes and no. Is it a felony? Yes. I mean, in theory, but they don't always do that. But yes, it is. But so what? And what I said, so what? Presidents have lied about so much worth. He lied about a consensual relationship with someone who wasn't his wife. I'm very clear. That's what he did. And some of you get mad, whatever. It's still bad, whatever. Bullshit. Stop it. He lied about a consensual relationship with an adult who wasn't his wife. I know presidents who've lied about a whole lot worse. And he also lied about a whole lot worse. So why don't you impeach him, I don't know, for bombing Yugoslavia? How about that? Right? How about that one? There's other reasons to impeach him. This was not one of them. That for us as Americans to think that's an impeachable offense because you lied, again, very clear. You lied about a consensual relationship with an adult versus I lied about Iran-Contra. I lied about drone bombing people in Yemen. I lied about Libya. I lied about Venezuela. No. Brother, no. That's not impeachable. Utterly BS. Not a thing. Not a thing. Yes. So, anyway. Adron, WMDs. Yes. I love about WMDs. Yes. Thank you. Far worse things being lied about than a consensual relationship with an adult. I'm going to be very clear. We're hearing now about some maybe non-consensual relationships with some not adults. We're hearing about that now. Isn't that impeachable? We're hearing about that now. Clinton, again, we're very clear. Consensual with an adult. It's fine. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. Consensual. And no, no, no. I'm not saying he should have done it. I'm not saying it because there was clearly a power dynamic. I get the argument completely. Not saying it was right and he should have done it. But that's right. Phil Travelgate. There we go. Yes, there we go. How about that? I'm okay with that. Do that then. There we go. So Andrea goes, they didn't impeach Clinton for the other things because they were in on it. Yes, correct. This goes why they will never impeach Trump because of invading Greenland. They want to invade stuff too. So yeah, they want to invade stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So that's my point. So no, Brana, you're not going to convince me on that one. That should not be impeachable. Should he be embarrassed by that? Yeah, he clearly used the power dynamic on us. Clearly he did, and she was working for him. So clearly that was inappropriate. Agreed. But a felony? Stop. She said it. It was utterly consensual. She would say it now, like she says it now. It was consensual, and she was an adult. You see the e-files? This is nothing. That's not. I will take Monica Lewinsky all day over the e-files. All day. Every president could do that. Every president can have their own Lewinsky all day long. Fine. Let's not do the e-files. So, yeah. I'm okay with it. Not an issue at all. Maybe it's my libertarian leanings, but I don't care. She was a consenting adult. Well, good. So anyway, all right. We've been talking. Hold on. Brunner's on. Yeah, I agree. The bringing about the impeachment was BS. That's my point. Yes, but the actual impeachment offense was lying under oath, and yes, all those was lie. Correct. Yes, and look, to be forward, we have to figure out what we're going to use the impeachment for. Again, in theory, they can impeach him for many things. In theory. But let's do it for what actually matters. This does not matter. This is not impeachable. Sorry. Anything is. This should not be impeachable. I should say it correctly. This should not be impeachable. It doesn't matter for the country. Does it matter for his relationship? Yes. Does it matter for Lewinsky? Yes. Not for the country. Not a thing. Phil says Clinton should be impeached for the Balkan Wars. So I'm saying Yugoslavia. Yes, do that. Yes. I'm not saying he should have been impeached. I'm saying not for what he was. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. Yes. So, any case. All right. I do want to bring up something if I can. Look, I talk often about this. I talk about you heading over to the advocates. Guys, please head over to the advocates. Do me a favor. They are a sponsor of the show. I need you to help me out and take one of these single issue surveys. Go over there, take one. When you're done taking it, share it. The one I'm thinking right now, because of what's happening in Minnesota, maybe the police accountability one, maybe the protest and civil disobedience one. Boy, kind of the time for one of those two is probably not a bad idea. Take one. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how it pops. It doesn't matter what it is. Please take one of them. When you're done taking it, go share it. Take the survey. Once you're done taking the survey, get it out to the people see it, and use the link that is in the description on YouTube, Facebook, and or Rumble. Please use that specific link so they know it came from us. It makes them happy. They're a sponsor show, and it's free. It costs you nothing. It's free. A little bit of time. Take it while I'm on the show here now if you want to. Take it while you're watching a football game, whatever. Take it and share it and use that same link. Please do so. Again, they know it came from me. It does matter. They're part of the show. They sponsor us. You guys want to help me out? It's free. Take it. Theadvocates.org. Why do I support theadvocates.org? Because they are talking about the advocates for self-government. How in the world are we going to change people's minds to recognize you don't have to rely on the government for everything? You just don't. And lots of people still think that. How do we get past it? By listening to these guys. the Advocates for Self-Government, theadvocates.org. Support them, sponsor the show. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Guys, also click the button known as like. I haven't asked you at all, have I? Those you haven't, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please do so. If you have not shared this yet, please repost this or share this if you would. Please do so. Also, if you have not joined or followed or subscribed to the channel/page you watch this on, please do that if you would. I appreciate it. It does matter. Every single click is important. Click away, click away, click away. There we go. All righty. Let me move on a couple of these. Mike says, none of these impeachments were for the things that actually mattered. I think you're right, Mike. That's the problem. I think you're right. Yes. So, Adirondack, Bruce Blakeman still has no policy or plan posted on his campaign for governor page. Why would he? Why would he, Adirondack? There's no need. Bruce Blakeman, since you asked, is not going to win. Knows he's not going to win. Everyone who supports him knows he's not going to win. So why would you bother having policy? It doesn't matter. So why would you do it? Not just that, people are voting for him because he's the Republican, not because he's going to change anything. They just don't want to vote for the Democrat. Makes total sense. You're correct, and it makes total sense. Right? Of course. Jason says, if you run the Republican primary, they change my status. If you want to vote for me in the Republican primary, I have not announced or decided 100% yet. But if I do so, and if you want to vote in the Republican primary, you have to change your status by February 15th if you live in New York State. That is true. So remember, in New York State, we do not have open primaries. So if you want to vote for me in the Republican primary, assuming that I'd run in it, and you live in New York State, you have to change your status by no later than February 14th. So I hope I answered your question. If you want to do so, yes. All right. Let's see here. D says, Joel, I'm cyberbullying Brucey right after the show. Thank you. There we go. Robert Reed's in the house. While I greatly appreciate the political analysis, there is a B side to all of this. And that is, how do the people form resistance cells to push back against corruption? You know, the biggest defense against corruption, and I say this often, and people don't seem to get it. They always want to try to create huge policies and issues and rules. Here's the answer. Make corruption harder. I'm not joking. As simple as that sounds, that's the actual answer. Make corruption harder. How do you do that? One, of course, is transparency, but that's obvious, but I got to say it because we need to. So, of course, right? It's transparency, of course, but that isn't enough. You need to decentralize everything. Defense against most things, decentralization is better. If I just got to send one thug to DC to convince 4 or 5 guys to get the thing I want, well, then that makes a lot of sense. That's easy, right? And then I go there, I convince 3 or 4 guys who have power to get something done, to change something, to move something, whatever, to get something, and I get whatever, $1 billion or whatever is my amount of money. Life is good. Great. But now that same thing is now decentralized. So now I got to send 50 guys to 50 states. And in each state, convince 3 or 4 guys or gals to do something. That's way more expensive. That's way more challenging. And I don't get $1 billion hit for each one of them. I get 100,000 here, 1 million here, 10 million here, 100 million there. Do I want to do that? That's hard. Now, will it stop it? No. I'm never going to stop corruption. But if I have 50 of them, as an example, or maybe even more, break it down even more, 500 of them or whatever, right? It's more challenging. Not just that. There's more chance for a screw up. If I just got to have 1 or 2 professionals who go down to DC and get XYZ, easy day. But what happens if now I need 50 people or 100 people? Better chance for a screw up, better chance someone makes a mistake, better chance someone messes around, someone gets caught, someone's got a good this or good that. So I make it a whole lot harder. So you will find less corruption, not because people are less corrupt, because it's simply harder to do. You make it a harder target. So there'll be less of it. I think that's a critical aspect people don't discuss at all. Mike says it. Thank you, Mike. Decentralization is the greatest defense against tyranny each and every time. Absolutely accurate each and every time. And I've been focusing on this like there's no tomorrow. I've been focused on this constantly. He's absolutely correct. That is our best defense overall. Doesn't mean we shouldn't have other things, Robert. There are other things too. But this is the critical piece that people don't talk about. I still want to have transparency. I still want to have laws that stop these things. I still want fraud to be a crime, right? I still want all these things, right? I still want all these things. But if I don't touch decentralization, I'm just putting people in jail. I'm just putting people in jail. It's true. So I hope that makes sense at least. Guys, here's what I want you to know. Tomorrow, I will be on at 7 p.m. on my other channel on Larry Sharpe. I'll be doing a review of Kathy Hochul's, my governor, Her Majesty, of her State of the State address, which will be tomorrow afternoon. I will be doing my chat about it, my review of it tomorrow night, 7 p.m. GovShack will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. If you're interested, please jump on board. Remember, these are two separate institutions. They're separate entities. Sharpe Way is one. GovShack is separate. FEC, don't get me in trouble. Do that if you can. Guys, I'm asking you to click that like button. It does matter, of course. Also, after the show, please comment after the show and tell me, do you think Trump is actually moving left or not? Is it real? Is it a show? Does he not care? Is he making a deal? What do you think? Is he actually moving left or not? And if it's not live when you watch this, remember, a couple of videos might pop up right here. Please watch one of them right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Algo Rhythm loves it. I will see you all very soon.